Today, we're going to be going over the Browns 2025 season and giving a little quick preview for their season. Before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like if you enjoy and subscribe if you are new, and let's get into the video. So first, looking at the additions and losses for the Browns this season. First, I have the entire quarterback room because every single guy that is healthy going into the season is new, whether it's Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, or Shedeur Sanders. So I just threw an entire quarterback room. We obviously all know what Joe Flacco can bring, just a veteran quarterback. Not going to necessarily raise your floor or raise your ceiling a ton and give you a chance to win a ton of games, but he's not going to really lose you a ton of games either. And then Kenny Pickett, he had a good start to his career in Pittsburgh, but he just kind of hasn't really put it together yet fully. I don't know if he's going to... I honestly don't know anything that's going to happen with this quarterback room and who's going to start. But I don't know if it's going to be Kenny Pickett. And then you have the two draft picks of Gabriel and Shedeur. Gabriel, played a long time in college, most notably, obviously, with Oregon. And then Shedeur Sanders, Colorado quarterback, obviously the whole story about him and the falling in the draft. But we have no idea who's going to be the quarterback come the regular season and who's going to start. So it's kind of a mystery for now, but they're all very similar, I think. Then they bring in two rookie running backs in Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson. I really like Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State. I think he has a chance to be the number one guy in the entire running back room. And then Dylan Sampson, I believe, from Tennessee, was also very good. Harold Fannin Jr., tight end from Bowling Green. I think he led tight ends in receiving yards last year. And he has a good chance to be that number two guy next to David Njoku. Then they bring in Deontay Johnson, who ever since he left Pittsburgh went to the Panthers. Started off great there, and then it didn't end well. Then he bounced teams. He played for the Texans. He played for the Ravens. Now he's on the Browns, so we'll see what he can do. DeAndre Carter, he's just been an okay player for the most part, mainly a special teams guy. Malik Collins, he was decent for San Francisco during his first part of his career. And he's probably good to give you at least like 4 to 5 sacks. Mason Graham, their first-round pick from Michigan. They bring him into play alongside Myles Garrett. They traded back for him. Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker from UCLA. I think a lot of people thought he could have maybe gone in the first round at the end of it, but they got him in, I believe, the second. And then Jerome Baker, who they brought in from Tennessee, who played for Tennessee and Seattle last year, did not have his best season for sure. I think he's getting up there in age as well, so he's just an okay linebacker. And then guys they lost Jameis Winston. You can never replace Jameis Winston, at least off the field, but I think it was good to go in the direction of getting rookies like Gabriel and Shedeur. So I think they made the right decision moving on from Winston, even if Winston's the better quarterback. Nick Chubb obviously didn't play a ton last year as he still recovered from the injury he had the previous season. And he didn't have his greatest season necessarily with Cleveland, but again, I don't think he was fully healthy. He's now on a different team. Still weird to think about. I'm not even a Browns fan, and it feels weird seeing Nick Chubb in a Texans jersey. Foreman, honestly, wasn't all that great for Cleveland. It was mainly Jerome Ford's team last year, so I think getting guys like Judkins and Sampson is an upgrade over Foreman. Elijah Moore, he only started 13 games last year for Cleveland. Not the best year for Elijah Moore. Hasn't really found it yet in the NFL after getting drafted by the Jets, I believe. Jordan Akins didn't play too much. He is on the older side, but he's an okay tight end. But I think Harold Fannin Jr. is an upgrade over him. Now, I don't know if Deontay Johnson or Deontay Carter are necessarily upgrades over Elijah Moore. I think they're all pretty similar. They lose Jermaine Ifedi, who, he wasn't very good in his limited starts he had last year with Cleveland. They didn't really add any tackles, but I don't think you're going to miss Ifedi Dalvin Tomlinson, he was all right. I think Mason Graham and Malik Collins are clear upgrades over Dalvin Tomlinson. They lose Juan Thornhill, who he started 11 games last year with Cleveland, and he was just okay. And Rodney McLeod was also just okay in his 17 games and 5 starts. And they did add 2 backup safeties that I think you could potentially argue are better than Thornhill and McLeod, who were also not necessarily backups, but they would be backups now. So I think overall they got better. They didn't have a great team to begin with, so it was hard for them to get better. And then when you throw in the Deshaun Watson contract, they don't have as much money to work with. So I think with what they had to work with, outside of the mystery that is their quarterback room, I think overall they got better in the offseason. Now looking at their offense, last year they had a below average passing game and a pretty bad running game. But I think the run game will improve. Pass game, not so sure because I have no idea how this quarterback room is going to shape up, as I keep saying. Some of the notable free agents that they have on offense going this year, 3 of their linemen in Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and Pacic, that's how you say it, are all free agents. Bitonio's a Pro Bowl caliber guard. He made the Pro Bowl team last year, so you definitely have to bring him back. Pacic is just okay. Wyatt Teller's been okay. So the big years for them entering their contract year. David Njoku, I think, is a unrestricted free agent. But Njoku, he only played 11 games last year, but he's one of the better tight ends, in my opinion, when healthy. So I think they'll just bring him back. And then Jerome Ford's a free agent. I think it's a big year for him because they draft Quinshon Judkins. They draft Dylan Sampson. They still have Pierre Strong Jr., I don't think is terrible. But I think it's a big year for Jerome Ford. Last year, in about half of a season played, like half of the usual reps you would expect from a starting running back, because Nick Chubb came back, he had about 4.5 or 5.4 yards per carry with 3 touchdowns. So he was very good in the opportunities he had, but being a free agent with 2 rookie running backs into the room, it is a big season for Jerome Ford. Quarterbacks, as I mentioned, who even knows? You got the veteran in Joe Flacco. You got the flyer that they're taking on Kenny Pickett. And you have the 3rd and 5th round quarterbacks in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I think I think you could argue Shedeur's the best quarterback here. I think Shedeur and Joe Flacco are the best quarterbacks on this quarterback room. Just my opinion. But what do I know? I think Kenny Pickett was just like they picked up Kenny Pickett before they drafted Gabriel and Sanders, so maybe they didn't know they were going to draft both those guys. Because I think if it was Pickett and Flacco, that kind of makes sense. You got the veteran Flacco and, taking a chance on a guy like Pickett, but now you're also somewhat taking a chance on Gabriel and Sanders. And I think you go with the youth there and not keep Kenny Pickett. So I think if they keep 3 quarterbacks, it's going to be Flacco, Gabriel, and Sanders. And I personally think Sanders, you could argue, is the best one. Tight ends, we obviously mentioned David Njoku, only played 11 games, but still one of the best tight ends. Harold Fannin, I really liked him out of Bowling Green. The O-line in general, not very good last year. They were 2nd most in sacks allowed, and they're all back. You do lose Jermaine Ifedi, but I don't even know if he started for them. But Bitonio, Daywin Jones, Pacic, Teller, and Conklin are all back, and they allowed a lot of sacks last year, so I don't know how they're going to do this year either. Conklin just hasn't really been the same since his injuries that he's suffered recently. I kind of like DeJuan Jones. He's moved to left tackle. I think this is his first year. This would be his first year playing left tackle. But I like him. I like his potential. You're going to get a Bitonio. Pacic and Teller are just okay. And Conklin, as I mentioned, hasn't been the same without injuries. I don't know what's going to happen with this O-line pretty much returning for the most part. And they were pretty bad last year. So we'll see what happens with that. And then on the receiver front, you got Jerry Jeudy, had a career year last year, made the Pro Bowl. He's obviously really good. Cedric Tillman, he had a slightly improved role from his rookie year and definitely had a better year because of it. So I like him. Thrash, he didn't really play much, but he's now their number 1 slot guy. alongside DeAndre Carter, but Carter's more of a special teams guy anyway, so Jamari Thrash might finally see the role. But he was very productive at Louisville and also at Georgia State, so I like him, and I'm glad he is going to get the opportunity. And then, I mean, the other guy, Michael Woods, hasn't really done much either. Not really a chance to anyway. So I'm not really confident on this offense as a whole, mainly because you don't have a lot outside of Jerry Jeudy. The O-line wasn't great last year, and we do not know how the quarterback room is going to be. So I'm very skeptical about this Browns offense. Now, before we get into the defense, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. You don't want to miss more content. Hit the notification bell on so you're always notified when we drop videos. Now, moving on to the Browns defense, a slightly improved unit compared to their offense. They were 27th, tied 27th in points allowed. Had a very good pass defense. You can just see by looking at the secondary. I mean, the secondary kind of struggled last year, but overall passing yards allowed, they were pretty good. And rushing yards allowed, they were kind of bad in terms of the league. Looking at the D-line, I mean, you know what you're going to get out of Myles Garrett. Not much to really talk about when it comes to Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. Mason Graham, obviously, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Definitely a smaller D tackle, but because of that, he is very quick for a D tackle, and he's constantly moving, and he's got like a good jump off the snap. Now, I think a little bit of Browns fans are concerned about Mason Graham when they could have had Travis Hunter, but I think you just got to wait and see. He was picked 5th overall for a reason. I think he will be good. I wouldn't be worried too much. Isaiah McGuire, in his 4 starts in the last 2 years, he's shown a little bit, shown to be a good run stopper. That seems to be his strength, which is good because the run defense was pretty bad last year. So if you're starting DN's a good run stopper, I think that's pretty good. Michael Hall, he was their 2nd-round pick last year out of Ohio State. Did not get to play too much in his rookie year because of an injury, but I did like him coming out of the draft, and hopefully he gets some more opportunities. Outside of, you're obviously going to start Mason Graham, your high pick, but outside of him, you have Malik Collins. I think Mike Hall can take over Malik Collins' spot eventually. And then you also got guys like Alex Wright and Shelby Harris who haven't, done a ton. They're just depth guys. And then Tryon Shoyinka didn't have the best start to his career in Tampa, didn't even get his 2nd contract with them, so this is sort of his 2nd chance to prove himself on Cleveland. Linebacker-wise, despite Jordan Hicks being an older player, he still produced last year, and he still can be a very good linebacker and mentor a guy like Schlesinger, who you took in the 2nd round, who, again, I think some people thought he was a 1st-round caliber guy, so good pick out of Schlesinger, and he can learn next to a guy like Jordan Hicks. Mohamed Diabate, he's shown flashes last year with a bigger role that he had because he didn't play too much his rookie year, got a bigger role his 2nd year, and he showed you a little bit of why he can and deserve that that bigger role. And then we talked about Jerome Baker, didn't have his best season last year with Seattle and Tennessee, and that's pretty much it for their linebackers. And then looking at their DBs, you obviously know what you're going to get out of Denzel Ward, led the league in pass deflections or PBUs or whatever. You know you're going to get him top 5, top 10 corner. Made the Pro Bowl last year, so yeah. Delpit, he's one of the better safeties in the league. Hickman, Ronnie Hickman, their free safety. Not a guy that's gotten a ton of reps in his first 2 years, mainly because of Juan Thornhill being on the team. But without Juan Thornhill on the team anymore, because he's gone, Hickman now gets the chance to start, and I like Hickman too, so I like that he's getting that chance to start. And I mentioned before, Jenkins and KZ, the 2 backup safeties, I think you could argue are better. I think Jenkins, KZ, Delpit, and Hickman is better than Delpit, Hickman, McLeod, and Thornhill. So I think overall they upgraded in that safety room. And then a big thing is Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome. They've had good years, but when I was doing some more research, Browns fans didn't seem to be happy with the performance they were getting out of Emerson and Newsome. Now, they are only 24 each. They're both 24, so ton of room to improve. But there is talent in those 2, so I hope they figure it out, because if Newsome, Emerson, and Ward are all playing at their best, it's one of the better 3-man corner rooms in the league. So we'll see if they can bounce back and get going, because they have the talent to do so, that's for sure. Quick look at the special teams. Corey Bagorges, do not know how to pronounce him, but he was one of the best punters last year, if not the best punter last year. So you got him in that punter, at that punter position. Dustin Hopkins, your kicker, was not the most accurate last year, I'm not going to lie. He is on the older side, so maybe that has to do with it. And then you got DeAndre Carter. While not the best receiver, he is a very solid returner. So should be a pretty good special teams if Dustin Hopkins can sort of make his kicks a little more. So that was a quick look at the special teams, because you got to show love to the special teams. And before we get into the record predictions, once again, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, because we still got plenty of teams to get through. So if you don't want to miss more of these previews, make sure to subscribe. Now, looking at the Browns' schedule, they have the 13th hardest schedule, which isn't good for a team that probably isn't very good. And their over-under is set at 4.5 wins. And I don't know if they're going to reach the over, because you obviously have to play your division twice, which outside of the Browns, the AFC North, those three teams are really good. You have to play the AFC East, which includes the Dolphins, who are good, the Bills, who are obviously really good, and the Patriots and Jets, who can be very good. You have the NFC, you have the Niners you got to play. You got to play the NFC North, which is one of the best divisions. So it's you see 13th hardest schedule, and you can definitely, by looking at it, tell that that's a very, very difficult schedule. I mean, their floor, I don't see many easy wins for the Browns here. I mean, I think they could get a division game, maybe. So maybe that's one. And then maybe they beat either the Titans, Jets, or Raiders. And honestly, I think their floor is 2 wins. Now, this is floor, so this is absolute worst. I don't think they're going to win 2 games. Teams rarely win only 2 games. But just looking at the schedule, I don't see them having a very high floor, or honestly, a very high ceiling. Now, when you look at the ceiling and look at games that are maybe more 50-50 or close to 50-50, I think you can throw the Patriots maybe in there, the Jets, maybe a couple more division games. And I think their ceiling, at best, is 6 wins. It's not a bad team by any means. It's not a great team in the Browns, but that quarterback room is just too suspect for me, and the schedule is just too difficult for me. And that's why my ceiling's at 6 wins, and that then makes my prediction at 4-13 for the Cleveland Browns. And they might be in the quarterback market when it comes to the draft yet again. I mean, it's a better quarterback draft class, at least in terms of like there's more good quarterbacks than there was last year. But I don't know. We'll see what maybe Gabriel or Shedeur can show. Because if they can show something, then maybe they don't need to go QB in next year's draft. But that will officially conclude our 2025 season preview of the Cleveland Browns. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the Browns season. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you're new, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.